Clicky.
I did a thing.
Oh my gosh. That's gotta be like an intro noise.
Say
now.
hello, internet.
Hello, internet.
Hello, internet.
That was
So-
a Christmas present of mine.
Centaur.
And here's another one.
Let's make this shit happen.
What? Gotar?
Yeah.
So the second to last time we played Vampire, there was a little bit of a hiccup with people's turns. And I saw this on the internet,
I feel
but
very
it was
called
for
out
D&D
suddenly.
characters. So I had this lady custom make us little... I have to take the stupid background off.
Yeah, your filter, your soft filter is.
This one says
oh.
A.
Oh.
Bill.
Ooh.
I just needed one name, Sally.
Yeah.
I didn't know why you needed it. I
I
gave
need
you
all
details.
four.
You knew who you were asking.
I needed all 4 fucking names because.
Heavens. Look at these.
Hickory.
Hickory.
Had to get
Nice.
Hickory.
Lazarus wouldn't fit.
No,
Yeah.
well,
So they're all gonna go to Tony so he can keep track of us on his board
okay.
on which order we are.
Fine.
And then when we're finally done playing Vampire, everyone gets to keep their character.
Oh,
we don't
as
need
a
rules
memento.
anyway. Fine.
I enjoy it.
I love
And
it.
she also sent us some just regular skulls,
Oh, good.
so we can also have villains in the turn orders as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Mm.
Nice.
What a cool memento.
No,
That'll be
that's delicious.
that'll be awesome to keep that.
I love
I
it.
cannot tell you how sad I am to have no mementos whatsoever of Fortunato, who is the first character in here, because
Yeah, we don't even have our notes.
people
Yeah.
broke into our trunk and
Humans are
stole the
shitty.
character sheet that had Malkavian worthy ramblings on the back of it.
Also, like 3-4 years worth of my
Yeah.
faithful scribing.
Well, I mean, part of me thinks whoever stole Fortunato's sheet is probably getting cursed as fuck right now.
probably.
Which is all in right in the world.
Yeah. So I'll send these to Tony so he can keep track of our initiative.
Love it. I will place them upon
That's
Yay.
awesome. Those are real cool.
storyteller's
That's neat.
shield.
I have to name drop the lady who made them, but I have to go look it up real quick.
Oh, totes. Yeah. Send me that and I can drop it into the YouTube video as well.
Yeah.
for when
Drop
we
it
post
in
those.
the tubes.
Totally.
Yeah, I can
Well,
shove it
thanks
right up in the tube.
Right in the tubes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's from WidgetsNWangdoodles.
Ooh, good name.
Nice.
Good
Oh,
name.
yeah.
Widgets
Good
and
name.
Wangdoodles on
Yeah.
Etsy.
I'm definitely going to shove that wing
I
doodle
worked with
up in the tube.
Michelle, and she's magic.
Yes.
Nice.
We'll put their magic wang doodle up in the tube.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
This is the content.
Thank you for getting those made.
Yeah.
They were too cute.
No, those are great. I
And I
was-
wanted the mementos.
was complaining earlier to JC about the art that I'm like, it feels like work because I have to give the artist all that work first for references.
Mhm.
And that's another
Yeah.
hurdle I've been working on slowly but surely. So yeah,
That's what Pinterest is for?
a bunch of players in the cleric game all have Pinterest boards for their characters, and I'm like, is this a thing? This is a thing, apparently. Okay.
I mean, I've done it.
Yeah.
But
believe it.
mostly for Aria because she was like supposed to be super haute couture, so
Yeah.
I was like, here's all the fashions of the day.
Oh yeah. Perfect sense. Yeah.
Jared has a Pinterest, but I don't, which I always
Oh,
thought was funny.
that's lovely.
I think we both have
Jared's
some.
just a better
We have
white girl than you.
shared boards where
No, Jared's
occasionally
much
he
better white
drops
girl than I am.
character pictures in them for me.
On a scale of 1
I
to
know.
white, I think Jaren does beat her.
Yeah. I'd agree.
Does Jonathan get
I-
rustic like bumpkin points that negate the basic white bitch? Is that how that works?
Are you asking me?
I don't think so because
I think the Canadian part just like eclipses everything else.
Ah.
well,
Honestly.
I think clearly this is just the novelty effect because I'm stranger in a strange land because where I'm from this is just as basic as the rest, right? So
Speaking of basic, what? I wasn't sure if you were looking at Jaren or Rhea at that point.
Jaren's not home. No, I'm looking at my ceiling
Oh,
because our fucking upstairs neighbors are.
oh,
I have
Where
my
is
headphones in.
it there?
I still hear
is
it.
that commercial where they say they have a clogging problem? And
I'm decently positive that they have a rhinoceros that lives in their apartment, and
No, it's not a hippo.
yeah,
it likes to run laps for several hours every day, and it makes like stuff in our apartment shake.
What the hey?
wow,
It's a child, is what it actually is.
Yeah, I figured.
But,
that is
oh my god. I think when we moved in, I don't know if it's one or if there's multiple children, but I think when we moved in, they must have been like visiting like grandma, or they must have been somewhere else because we didn't get a lot of the trampling noises, but I did hear them fucking on the reg all the time.
Great.
that's always
Kitchen,
fun.
bedroom, like oh, they're in here today.
oh, good.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened in a while. Now it's just buffalo noises.
You know,
Well,
That's-
basically, now you can just shame them on the stream, like
Wow.
all the time.
Honestly, and
Sometimes
I
we still have no
prefer
shame.
I prefer the sex noises because that was at least interesting. Like, oh, huh. But
did y'all remember Thin Wall Ryan?
What?
Thin
What?
Wall Ryan?
Thin Wall Ryan. There was a YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
All the videos got taken down.
Yep.
Like
I
don't
know.
know if he just
They
deleted
did?
his
I
account.
saw
Oh,
recently.
I think he just canceled the account or something. But yeah,
Yeah, probably.
that was the shtick, was that he's like, let's see how long they can last, and he'd do like weird little self-made up challenges to see if he could complete
Yeah.
whatever challenge before they finished.
Yes,
Right.
I
He would give
remember that.
himself like a challenge to do before the shower started.
Yeah, it
My
was,
favorite was the one where he dressed as Batman and he talked like Bale Batman the entire time. And he's fucking throwing batarangs in the pumpkin.
Yep.
While his neighbors are doing it. It was great.
premium content.
This, yeah.
Quality. Wow,
This,
I can't say quality apparently.
This was more entertaining than when it actually happened to me because I was bedroom to bedroom with my neighbor when
Oh
the
yeah,
first
the
apartment I had.
fat chick and the thin dude that just kept wheezing.
That dude was a heavy smoker, and every time they were going at it, I was like, "This is the night he dies." Like I was like, "Buddy, you." Like it would start like fucking wheezing and panting, and like it would stop, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're gonna kill this dude!" Like,
Oh yeah,
he's
she would also
obviously-
like totally complain, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like, why are you stopping?
I was like, that.
Oh.
One of these days, the fucking cops are gonna be here to
Oh.
pull his dead fucking carcass.
Oh,
out
and
of
he
this.
and then one time she went to borrow the phone from you, right?
Yeah, well,
And then sat on your role playing stuff
oh yeah,
with a big,
that happened.
big fat ass.
Wow.
Yeah, her phone got disconnected, so she knocked on my door once and was like, "Can I make a phone call?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
She wasn't even watching where she was sitting.
But I didn't realize it was going to be a regular thing after this,
oh, and that, yeah.
where it was constantly.
Like, go freaking pay your phone bill, bitch.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's called two jobs, bitch.
It was something else. Always
Mhm.
2 a.m.
You
Like
give
2
a
Yeah,
whole
that
a.m.
was not while I was living there.
No. 2 a.m. like clockwork. I had my restaurant job and I would come back from work, shower, and go to bed. And I was like, well, there it is. Once again.
Wow. Well,
That bachelor. Anyway,
who's ready to play pretend?
Yeah.
me. So
Let's do this.
I've got a list here of things that we're supposed to be doing when we get back to San Felipe.
Well,
Identify.
before we get to this list, let's do a quick recap
Okay.
of what happened last time.
Oh,
I am an attack
Um,
helicopter.
Yeah, we finished an attack on the boat. Marlena got her husband out.
and then I took him to a barber.
Yeah, that's right. Well, a barber.
Whatever. He knows how to use the tool.
The barber of
that's right.
of Isla de San Jose.
That's right. That's right. Because now that's a thing. You made a stop on an island while freeing Marlena's husband. You also maybe adopted a fate witch.
Yeah.
Who knows? She's
a
in
project.
captivity
She's a
right
rescue.
now.
We're taking it a day at a time.
Yeah.
Showing them there's that it's okay to be loved.
That's
I
right.
specifically told her to go follow different people every day
Yeah.
and see what they do.
So this all happened. You're back on the island at this point. There's some talks about the return. Captain de Landreville has expressed a desire to try to come back a little covertly so that he can connect with the governor and sort of assess the situation and maybe stage his return a little bit so it inflicts the most damage on the Inquisition and the Prophet's Sword. But that's, I believe, where we left off.
Yep. Here's what it says. We'll return on the sloop so we don't give away that we're back. The sloop being the blatant goal.
Yes.
And we will meet with Salvadora, including telling her about the threat to Sophia's daughters. Meet with Governor Perez and bring Landreville to see him. And meet the Liberation Front. That's what I got. The end.
What did I rename the sloop? The Blatant Gull, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll install a slap board in that ship.
Chalkboard.
No, hey,
Slate.
the tech exists. It's not broken. Don't fix it. It's good. Good. The
Yep.
slats have chalk. The slats are chalk, and so. Good.
Yeah, there is a fairly good vibe on the island at this point. 4 of the freed prisoners you originally freed when you first arrived to the island are now in the process of trying to sign up with the crew of the Sable Wren. The Ajmal, who is the old man in charge of the ship, he balks a little bit at the title of captain, but is sort of accepting it.
Wait, didn't he die?
Ajmal, no.
Wait, who died?
The one who died was the captive captain you had brought back.
Oh, yeah.
The captain of the Vodache ship. You had brought
Marlena
back.
killed him.
Right.
Yeah,
Marlena
Marlena killed him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I did do
Right.
it, didn't I?
Pretty sure he was a duke, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I had to stab somebody who had some sort of rank.
I had to
So I
stab
did it.
somebody. That's a
Right.
quote.
Yes. He turned up dead at some point because Marlena just snuck on board and stuck him.
Soup's dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
So yes,
snuck and
that's the
stuck.
captain that's dead. The captain of the Sable Wren is alive and well, and currently he looks a little bit like a school principal, sort of. taking the weight of children presented to him.
That's a mood.
He is watching them like very intently and making probably like a bigger show of like, you know, taking off his little spectacles and cleaning them. You know, takes his time in between each recruit, which is making them sweat. And there's Magnus especially is very thrilled at that display. He's being very quiet, not to, you know, dispel the magic, but he's obviously very tickled at the scene. He's like, you know, proper captain right there, just proper captain. But yeah, there's a bit of a better mood now that you've landed back. Some tales are being exchanged. You see some people chatting back and forth. Even Landreville himself looks a little less severe. Marlena's husband is answering some questions, although despite looking better physically, he's obviously still shaken.
I'm pretty much wherever he is.
Yeah, he looks worn. But, you know, outside of that is courteous and exchanging pleasantries.
So I'm guessing we have more than enough volunteers to crew the sloop to bring us into port to begin sort of doing business with Mendez y Mendez, as well as our actual employer as cover while we slip into town and start the infiltration.
Yep. Absolutely. You have enough folks here that know what they're doing and are willing to help to fully man that sloop. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the idea was to have La Baleine Blanche go into port first, basically leaving now, so that, you know, they could make a show of showing up in the harbor.
Yeah.
I thought we didn't want them to know that we were back.
Yeah, but you're not going back with them.
Because we're going in our own ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought the idea was to have that ship go back to give them something to look at while we're off doing something else.
Either works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. Yeah, that we send La Baleine Blanche as a big fat decoy, and then we slip in while their attention's on that. Yeah, no, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was the idea.
Yeah, I believe that's what was discussed at the end of the last session. So,
3 weeks.
Unless those marching orders change, La Baleine Blanche is basically getting ready to leave the island. You all get a hearty hug from Magnus before heading out. Natasha as well. You get a handshake from Ernesto.
Who?
All of you.
Oh.
You get a round handshake. Cigarillo is in the other hand.
I should hope so. He's inspired the namesake for the entire fleet. So, you know, it's...
Yes. There's a theme. But yes, the captain as well basically lets you know that the ship will be in port for at least another week. They don't expect to have another job coming shortly, and they're more than willing to push these off schedule in case you have needs. Jimena, you get yet another offer to rejoin the crew full time. the captain basically lets you know that there is a spot left on the crew registry, just in case you change your mind. Your place is there, ready for you, and that they're more than willing to make a place for your friends.
Jimena is very thankful, but no.
Did I ever come up with a proper name for the new ship?
I want to say you had,
It's
but
something about a phoenix.
Oh,
yeah, because you were the
Yeah, you
plan was
didn't
to
know what
burn
the
the
other-
top deck.
You didn't know what the other part would be yet, because I have a blank phoenix because you didn't know yet.
I think I might go with something different.
And you asked Rodrigo to make the phoenix feathers on it?
Yeah, you had.
we did. We did.
asked Jimena and Rodrigo
Okay.
to do a little. I think
Yeah, we
Jimena
did wood burning.
was gonna do the
No, that's
wood
cool.
burning.
Okay. Never mind. Cool. I'm still work on that.
The screaming phoenix?
That's not horrible. That's that's strong.
The
It's strong.
screaming goat.
I'm gonna mull on that one, but I'm thinking that's a winner. No,
I mean,
I love it.
whenever you hear like the phoenix sound in an anime, it's always that like terrible like like the synthesized peacock screaming his
Well,
life.
Sorry, that was awful.
We do know
You're
how much
all
you
welcome.
love birds, so this is only helping.
Right. The sound you would make if you were also on fire. Yeah, so with all of that, La Madame Blanche does leave the island after some preparations, starts heading to port, half a day sail to get over there. Did you plan to just follow suit, leave a day in between, or what's the
Oh,
idea?
we gotta have some delay, right? Or no? I don't know. Ow! I just poked my face.
Well, just considering the sloop is most likely a faster ship than their ship.
Mhm.
So if we want to either let them get there first, or even if we kind of want to get there at the same time, we should probably still leave after them.
Yeah, I think a full day's good.
From what little I know about ships.
Which I imagine
There
is
you go.
not too much out different than how much I know one way or the other. So all good. No, I love it. Yeah, we'll send out LaBelle after the mushy goodbyes. That I'm like, why? We're gonna see you guys another day. Like,
Yeah.
all right. Then yeah, we'll
It's
get
not-
It's like when you do the whole like, oh bye, and then you walk in the same direction. You're like,
Yep.
Damn it!
a little bit.
I'm going this way too.
Oh, you guys parked here
Oh, this
too.
always happens.
Cool.
Like, oh,
It's not
this is
a,
me.
yeah.
Bye.
But yeah,
it was
give us
more of
another
like,
day.
this was a fun time.
See if anyone else is ready and raring to go after another full day of rest and food and recuperation, because we have 4 ships. We have 4 ships and an outpost to
Yep.
man.
We've got so much more now since we,
Yeah.
set off. It's pretty cool.
And I'm sure a bunch of them are not going to be good for it, and a bunch of them are just want to go home. So there's going to be some recruiting later.
Yep.
But yeah. So we'll give it one more good day, and I think I got it. The Phoenix Call,
There you go.
There you go.
because that figurehead's going to be that sweet burb with the wings. I see it already. It's great.
Yeah. And you were
You should
you were
leave a hole in its mouth so that when we want to be really threatening,
Oh hell yeah!
Jimena can
Oh,
blow
yeah.
fire
Just
through it.
firebender that shit. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
I love it.
Nice.
And then you, at Rethold's instruction, Rodrigo's raring to help. So if you want to do some work during that day, Rethold's plan, I think, was to change the profile altogether, burn off that top deck, and yeah. So there's some weird fire engineering happening during that day.
A ship
Doing
constructed
the,
like none
the
other.
dragon dance.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jimena, I think you had hit the mess hall too. Well, mess hall. It's basically like one of the side rooms that has more tables and space, so it ended up in a communal food room. But there's a working kitchen on the island, so I believe when we had left off last time, you had realized, Jimena, with much delight, that there was a slew of crescent food being prepared in that bitch.
Exotic.
Yeah,
Things she's never tried before.
that's right.
A lot of potatoes.
Well, if you're in Testy, you're more likely to have tried some crescent dishes than
That's
most
true.
places.
But this is crescent food made by crescent people.
Yeah, that's right. This is the
Different.
real fucking deal.
You're
right
learning.
here.
You're learning things about spice you had no idea.
That's right. Zhenya, you actually get a moment of respite, in fact, and get food thrust in your direction. By
What is happening?
some folks that are over there. They don't leave any of you a choice, because Ricardo basically mentions, yeah, let's go check it out. Let's go sit, like, what's happening out there. And the moment you sit down, you, Ricardo, and Veronica get food thrust in your faces.
Oh God.
And this is just happening. And
All right.
Ricardo is basically like, well, if it's here, we don't want to offend, so
Oh man, he's gonna
Right?
turn himself into a fat, contented house husband. Oh no.
that's right. He's gonna have to keep a strict exercise regimen. But yeah, Veronica is eating very heartily.
Oh good.
She's keeping a good face, but that little expedition demanded some reserves out of her. So she's hidden the food, and it is very different spices from back home.
Oh
So
boy.
she's hidden the water, and she's hidden the bread, and it's you can see, because you know your sister very well, the exact moment where the bread, water, food mix just like hits the right mixture, and it just like expanded like popcorn.
Oh.
That exact moment where she puts her glass down and she's like, this might have been a mistake. She sort of leans back, still very, as ladylike as she can muster, but there's a clear, like, her hands are folded like up here. There's a little resting space.
Little food baby.
Yep. Which you notice Ricardo notices, and then he pretends he didn't see anything, but you see the corner of the mustache sort of twitch a little bit as he's fighting amusement.
Zhenya is eating and laughs heartily at her sister and like whacks her in the back. Eat more! It's good for you!
It's good for you.
Right? You see her eyes grow wide for a second as your hand hit her in the back, because, she's like, this is a volatile mixture right here. Like, for a second, she's not quite sure how this is going to go, but it's fine. She's like, Yes, maybe in a moment. Just give me a second. And Ricardo's sort of dabbing his mouth, and as she says that, she's like, "You sound a little out of breath. Are you okay?" And she sort of gives him like a side glance, and he's like, "All right, I get it. I will not get involved."
Nice.
Everyone is fine.
Everyone and everything is
Rethel is
perfectly-
asleep.
Shayna's ear has grown back.
What time of day is it
Good.
even?
Doesn't matter.
If this is the day after, yeah, her ear has grown back.
Yeah, this is happening during the day off that you're
Okay.
taking. So we'll
Yeah.
say this is early evening at this point.
I mean, some of the things that I'm up to are things I probably wouldn't talk about. So,
like
I said I wasn't going to talk about it.
You know,
What?
getting reacquainted with her healthy husband, probably.
yeah. Leandro is
Ew.
maintaining composure, but is just clearly rattled. You
Yeah.
actually catch it a couple of times, Marilena, that
Mhm.
when people are not talking to him, like he's sitting down and he's just staring into space.
I think
Like-
if I notice it enough, I'll probably just be like, oh, well, I would like to spend some time alone with him as well. So thank you, goodbye.
You get some quarters basically assigned to you all, which Rethold has already occupied his as you passed in front of his door.
I probably took like 2 bites of whatever spiciness that was and was like, nope, that's going to go right through me. So I'm going to do some bread and maybe find some meat that isn't rubbed in whatever this Roto-Rooter is. And then I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah. To your delight, Rethold, if you raid the larder, these pirates were trying to live in style up in here. There's a fair amount of stuff, including just barrels of like salted meat, just cured.
All right.
You can take immediately with you. Probably getting prepped for some voyage.
We should probably pack the gull with some of this stuff in case we need to leave at a moment's notice for anything. We know we've got provisions for a short trip. Yeah. I'll assign someone who, we'll find someone who's good with numbers and logistics to take on that task. We've got more than enough income to put someone on the payroll.
Oh, at this point, absolutely. So Marilena, as you go up, you get the back of Rethold going into his quarters. You get assigned a cozy little room. Once you get inside there, Leandro sort of sits into a chair and the
Falls
last
asleep.
6 inches or so, like he doesn't so much sit as he just, his butt just falls on it. And he looks like he's just got a weight on him as he lets out a breath, and he looks slightly older.
That kind of experience will do that. If he wants to talk to me, I ask him if he wants to talk. If he doesn't, we don't have to. I help him relax.
Yeah, he's actually really open. If you ask him about talking, he'll be really open about his experience. It obviously did a number on him, but not breaking was both a matter of pride and honor at this point. He clearly feels guilt at his being unprepared when he started to go on your trail. He feels responsible for getting who he considers a good agent killed, trying to get him out of trouble, and seems very intent on repaying that debt, which basically this whole thing was an attempt at doing.
He definitely paid a lot. I mean, wow. Yeah, I mean, I listen and I tell him there's no way he could really have known exactly how bad it would be. It's very different from the perspective of, I mean, honestly, when the women that go with the Sophia's daughters do what they do it knowing that it's going to be dangerous, but they don't care. You reach a point where your freedom is more important than the risks that you'll face. So, if anything, it just means we had much less to lose.
Yeah, there's understanding, but there's a very deep desire to repay that debt. And on that topic,
Not that I would stop you from doing so.
He brings
I
up
will help you.
How impressed he is at your friends. His words are basically, I feared after you left how you would fend for yourself and what would befall you, but it seems you've encountered a group of people that not only kept you safe but helped you thrive, and I don't know how I can help repay that, but just like with the other debt, I am intent on assisting.
Well, you are here now. There is much that you can do and learn. I'm sure they will be happy to have another person to help out. But you also need to think of yourself. You've been through a lot. You should rest.
Well, it is difficult. Rest does not come easy.
Oh, I wouldn't expect it to. But I guess what I mean is just take it one step at a time.
After seeing the carnage that was wrought on this boat, I'm not fully convinced that I am able to keep up with you and your friends in that regard. I still have ground to cover.
Well, have I even told them about the business?
No, not yet.
Oh,
But
well.
If I do say so, I have a head for organizing. I ran a decently sized business, as you know, and would be more than willing to put whatever skills I have to use.
Well, I have a perfect thing for you to do. I have set it up. Not thinking necessarily that you would join me, but I have a tailoring shop back in San Felipe. It was originally put together as something of a front, but it's also something I do because I enjoy it.
When you bring that topic up, it does make him perk up a little bit, and you see sort of a fragment of the man you used to know before you left Vodace, as he starts to talk with you about the shop and what you have in mind and how you're running it, what kind of fabrics you have running through. There's sort of a...
Oh yeah, we heck a bond over cloth.
Yeah, you awaken something that has been buried for some time, and that seems to distract him for a nice long little while. More than anything, you can tell he's just happy and eager to be able to just talk.
Mm-hmm.
That seems just to be a relief, right?
And there's plenty I can talk about. I can tell him about a lot of the other adventures we've had. Like that one time we crossed Montaigne to get to Eisen.
There's a lot of ideas being thrown out, and he's listening to your stories with a lot of rapt attention. He's also already drafting plans about business, about how possibly this could branch out, and the possibility of sort of basically marrying his two tasks, so to speak, is support of Sophia's daughters and running this business are starting to take a little bit of shape. So
I also tell him that he'll get to meet Salvadora, and I'm sure there's more that you could help with through her.
He seems thoroughly delighted at the thought. Like you just told him he was going to meet some, fashion icon.
I mean, she is. She's very, very stylish with the Ifri fashions.
But yeah, you go on talking like that for long hours. Until after a while, he basically starts to nod off. He basically needs to get some rest.
Aw, well, stay with him, and yep, it's nice to be with him, even if he is a little, damaged.
Aren't we all, though?
Yeah.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
After my nap, I go stand out in the middle of the courtyard, and I look around if there's anyone lollygagging that has otherwise expressed interest in joining up or who has joined up. And I'm like,
yeah, you do find some folks. Mm-hmm.
And without moving, I go,
lollygaggers.
I go, Evine? Oh, good, you're there. Okay, so maybe we should do some training so we don't all get lazy.
I agree.
And I just start shouting at people.
Even the perfect training montage music hits your head.
Yes.
So
it's Drunken Lullabies by Flogging Molly.
We start chasing some of them into a vague semblance of a formation, and go over some basics on hand-to-hand, melee, and ranged.
Jimena, you arrive to this scene, getting up from the boat with Rodrigo, just chatting the whole time about how badass this ship is looking now.
And how hungry you are.
The cosmetic changes you've made to it, and you arrive to the courtyard to this situation sort of getting whipped into shape. You notice from your vantage point, Jimena, that there seems to be a shift in crowds from the side where the mess hall has been set. You see some people coming out of the mess hall because they want to get in on that action, and you also see some people leaving the courtyard to go to the mess hall because they're like, well, time for my break. I'm not getting involved with this.
Jimena goes into the mess hall, gets like a plate for her, which is a tray
Platter.
for
I was
anybody
imagining
else.
a Dagwood.
Right.
Gets like a tray of fixins for herself, and like goes back out and like stands like eating chicken and being like, no, you have to bend your legs more. No, keep your arms straight.
I kick
Like,
whoever she
Backseat
yells
training.
at. I kick their leg, and then I like whack their elbow, and I'm like, "You heard her."
Zhenya, you also see this whole situation happening from the mess hall.
Zhenya's still rocking 2 dramatic wounds, so she looks outside and she goes, "That looks like fun." And then I'm sure she feels a hand on her shoulder and goes, "Shit."
Yeah. You get the hand.
None for you.
Yeah, by now, like Ricardo is drinking some sort of strong liquor. Not exactly sure what it is, but the Crescent lady who brought it to him was adamant that he had to try it. So he's holding the glass and he's sort of pouring it into his mouth, and the hand is sort of like it's not so much a don't do that, it's more of a yeah, I know. I know how much you want to be out there.
A sweaty recruit comes into the mess hall and finds Veronica and goes, "He told me if I didn't get you out there, I would do more push-ups."
Zhenya like laughs and like, "Yes."
I've done a lot of push-ups already.
Veronica's sort of leaning back in her seat at that point, and she looks at Ricardo and looks at Zhenya, and for a second, that poor dude looks terrified, and then she sort of slowly sort of pushes the chair out and then stretches. She looks at Ricardo, and Ricardo is like, "Have fun," as he pours himself another glass.
Before Veronica can leave, Zhenya pulls her pretty blonde hair back and ties it into a braid, and then ties it off with a piece of leather that she has upon her somewhere, I'm sure. And then goes, "That's better, it won't get in your face."
She looks like she's hating it for a second, but she nods. And says, "Thank you."
Prophetically, Rethel passes by the mess hall door and is shouting, "Yes, puking builds character. Let's go."
You hear a definitely unladylike burp coming out from Veronica as she's getting herself into the. It's just like a low like. All right. And then she sort of nods to the guy that came to fetch her. He's turning around to leave, and she's like, he's probably going to have you do those push-ups anyways, right? And they both exit the mess hall.
No, you won't have to do another push-up today. You get to do butterfly kicks now.
If it hurts, that means you're doing it right.
Oh, we're doing it all right. Don't worry.
You gotta tear them down before you build them up.
Mhm.
So Veronica goes to training, which Ricardo seems to find, now that she's not in the vicinity, incredibly funny. He sort of peeks through the window, and then he basically says, "Well, she'll probably hate it, but she'll get through it.
It's good for her."
Well, the kid has got guts. Reminds me of somebody." And he pours himself another glass, and he's like, "You should try this stuff."
Zhenya takes a glass from him and then tells him a story of how her father and Veronica used to bake honey cakes inside while she and her mother would chop wood outside. But Veronica used to steal the cakes out of the oven and sneak them out to her.
He is infinitely tickled by that and says, you know what? This makes perfect sense. Like, you tell him that, and it's like every piece is falling into place. Yeah, no, you have a grand old time. Ricardo is just like sitting there with you. The food keeps coming even after you both tell them like this is enough. But it's like, well, not the same serving, right? Like you get more like bite-sized food at this point.
It becomes tapas.
There's this lady who does not speak 2 words of common outside of is good, and she's trying to explain to you that this goes with the liquor, so you have to have both. You have to have them together because it goes with the liquor.
That's a universal language. Yeah.
Just eat.
So yeah, it's you're sort of being treated as liberators in here. So you get, even though Ricardo like keeps telling them like, you don't need to fuss over us. We're good. We're fine. Like we got this. They keep buzzing around you all. After a while, it stops. I think they start getting the message, and you're sort of left at the table. The light is starting to die outside. It's getting dark, so candles are being lit, and you're sitting at the table just throwing away booze and sharing stories. Ricardo talks about his youth. He talks about his buddies during the war. He talks about the first months freezing in the cold with the carrion crow. There's a lot of good stories being exchanged. It's almost a back and forth of like, well, during this campaign, here's what happened to us, and here's where we're stationed. And
I once dug a hole and hid my entire team for 3 weeks, and then we came out on the other side. They never knew what hit them.
Yeah. You're right about this much from going into the Scar comparison.
Oh, that's later. That's later.
Look at this.
There's other people here. So, yeah, Megan.
As soon as it gets dark outside, everybody thinks, "Oh, it's dark now, so it's over." Jimena has made a fire obstacle course.
Nice.
That she keeps adjusting like the height of the flames on.
Oh, I've grabbed ash and coal and started rubbing it on my face. It's just like we're doing this.
Yeah, it is getting rowdy inside and out. Some people are just getting drunk in the mess hall. Outside, it's just like they're playing some crazy adult double dare out there.
What?
But yeah, it's the night sort of advances that way, and eventually more and more people are starting to head towards bed.
If they're allowed to.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to rest at some point.
Oh yeah, no. There's a definite cutoff time where you need to bathe and eat and hit your cot because there will be more drills in the morning. I'm not going to run them. I got to leave. But someone in the course of this ridiculousness has been granted a rank and is in charge, is responsible for something. So yeah.
Like, what rank do you want? Well, I've always wanted to be a corporal. Fine, you're a corporal.
It's a good.
Oh, you're right.
It's a good.
Corporal now.
It's good.
Mid rank.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I probably just end up like having food brought into the room, I guess, at some point.
Absolutely.
Because food needs to occur.
Yep. You
Ooh, something hard.
That slot on the bottom of the door comes in real handy. Funny enough, it doesn't interrupt anything. It's just like, oh, okay.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, so Genia, you're hitting that part of the night where Ricardo is getting pretty nice and drunk. Not sloppy drunk, but he's, it's the happy part of the evening. He asks a few times, what actually is this drink to the lady when she passes by, because he seems quite taken. She mentions to him, like, it takes a while for her to understand what he's even getting at. He keeps pointing to the bottle, and at some point she wants to bring him more, and he's like, well, not for now, like for later. I think I'm pretty good for now. And she finally tells him this is called Arak. So he sort of repeats the word to himself quite a few times, and he's like, all right, we'll get in on this. This is good stuff. And
It's like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's if you want an idea, Arak is basically made with like grapes and aniseed. So,
I would hate that.
Yeah.
But yes. Amanda would love that.
Yeah. In reality, it has a little bit of a licorice taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that seems like something Genia would like.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Fairly herbal, unsweetened.
Yeah.
So yeah, after a little while, it seems like it's about time to get up and go to bed. Veronica, by that time, is also
dead.
Pretty much done with the gauntlet.
She
seems like she's hesitating between going for round 2 because she's expended a lot of energy at this point, and maybe would be willing to get some food, but then the cycle would be unbroken, and she decides against it. It's like, all right, we're just gonna go to bed. Yeah, any other business you want to take during the break before heading back to the mainland?
Nope. Well, not for me anyway.
Okay. So we will skip to that. You have put together a crew to man the sloop. We've been thoroughly blessed / exercised by one of the crescents there.
I assumed that I did some reading on these peeps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you're pretty much ready to go. Landreville looks as regal as can be. He's actually wearing clean clothes for one, and looks like he's freshened up. Bandages on his hand have been changed, and he's sort of looking north with a mixture of eagerness and apprehension, but seems like he's ready to go. And it's not long before the ship leaves the island after you've given your instructions to the ship still on there, and the promise to send more people in to organize and staff the island properly. The Sable Wren offers to stay moored there for the time being and help sort of bridge the gap. In exchange for, getting some supplies from the island, but it's so well stocked, and they had gotten some prior to the trip, so it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, they absolutely have carte blanche to travel to any port they like to drop off people who want to head home or resupply or pick anything up. So yeah, and then that leaves the Phoenix, with one more ship if for some weird reason they need to abandon the island or something.
Right.
Which likely won't happen, as if anyone on the Wren finds anyone to recruit, we know we have I feel like we have a pretty solid filtering process through everyone. So yeah.
That's right. So your whole crew, with the addition of Leandro and Rodrigo, is now on the sloop, and you're making good time. Rethold, this is a decent little ship. Good speed. It's smaller in size, meaning it's good for speedy travel, primarily passenger travel, but it doesn't have a huge cargo hold, but it fits the business properly, and you if this was added to a fleet that you managed, you wouldn't be upset about it, because that's a solid little ship.
Yeah, I know. In a different universe, this is my yacht.
It might still very well be, because as far as you're concerned, you you have first picks on all these ships, but you can even picture your flag up top
along the back where it has the port of call, it's gonna say Isla de San Jose.
Now we can make those look nice. I mean, hey,
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You got the supplies, you got the skill.
Yep.
Yeah. It seems only a couple hours. You're making really good time. 2-3 hours of sailing, and you already see the familiar coastline of San Felipe. With your instructions, the sloop ends up pulling out in a different port, just to avoid any unwanted attentions. Basically, one from that Inga manages for Salvadora. That's an unmarked dock. Since you wanted to go stealth, Rethold, you would remember this being the sort of when questionable merchandise comes in, or stuff that doesn't need too many eyes on it. This is the one Salvador uses, and Inga had given all of you permission to drop on there.
You mean like me?
Yeah, that's actually where you originally landed.
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I thought.
So yeah, before long, the ship is getting moored. You're getting to port. You're welcomed by some of Inga's crew, including a familiar boy, Rethold, who you remember having grilled earlier. You get a salute from Mateo, who's working the docks. Kid seems like he took a little bit of bulk. He's still a wiry teenager. His arms seems like they were meant for a different body. But They're just so long and gangly, and so but he seems like he's still gotten some bulk.
Oh, how close he came to being a Jose, if he only knew.
If
Might,
somebody else had not claimed him prior.
yeah, might still poach him, or at least try. We'll see.
Mateo sort of wipes his hands with a cloth and basically comes to greet you all and says, "Hey, too bad Enge's not here today. The boss is out in a different shipyard, just overlooking construction of a different ship for Salvadora, who's gonna basically start the shipping line with Northern Ifri. That should be exciting."
Nice.
So
Nice.
we're working hard on that. There was some really heavy cargo that had to be shipped down there recently. And
I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
that gave the crew pause and some ideas about how we could make that neck of the road a little bit better. So Gustavo's down there to sort of providing some insight.
Well, we will absolutely want to avail ourselves of that route in the nearish future. Sort of eye over to Zhenya. But we have some more pressing matters currently, as we know that friend is safe. We have some other friends, though, that we're looking to also put back in their proper home. So, about what time of day is it? I'm guessing, oh man, if we made good time after first light, it's probably barely lunch.
Yeah, barely. It's about like 11:30 or so.
I would ask Mateo to go find Jose Correo, our errand boy, and I would ask him to have the captain of the guard come investigate this dock on a routine inspection.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me give a couple instructions here, and I'll go do that.
No rush. We're just gonna lounge out here till probably nightfall.
Okay. You got it. Anything you need to take out or strip from the ship, or
Oh well,
anything we can help you with?
official business. There's definitely some cargo that's going to need to go into Mendez y Mendez as well as through Salvadora. That's all. Oh, and a little bit to the guild, as there's an account there that needs to be brought forward. But that's all in the books. The captain's got that. Yeah.
I got you. And with that, you hear him in Castilian give a couple of instructions, and he grabs a coat that he dusts off and start to walk away from the shipyard and into the city. All right, so are y'all waiting till nightfall at this point? You get a message in.
Sorry, I just thought of something.
Mhm.
What's her name? The other Fate Witch, is she with us too?
Well, I'll let you decide if you brought it with you.
I would have.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think that it would have been safe to leave her there.
Yeah. I want her near me where I can cancel out anything. And also just to keep her. We're basically turning into another Josefina at this point. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll basically follow whatever instruction you give her.
Which is kind of creepy.
Yeah, she tags along and is very discreet. She's been given a change of clothes at this point.
Did she wear it though?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
was
imagine
Told to, I'm
once
sure.
I imagine once we get her to your shop, we'll deck her out in the latest fashion.
Yeah.
Something like
She's
that.
that didn't change anything about her bearing. She's still straight as a post, but at least she looks more like she could belong in your crew at this point.
Oh, so she's got 8 knives on her and is wearing
Yeah,
leathers.
8 knives. She's 8 feet tall. No, but you see her features better at this point, and it's true. Like she's clearly a girl, right? Like probably not older than 15 or 16 years old. Very dark hair and dark eyes. She's also very pale. And her hair has sort of a natural curl to it, although she doesn't seem to. When she got the change of clothes, like they were asking her what she wanted to do with her hair, and she didn't have an answer. So
That's the one girly thing that Zhenya has. She's really good at hair.
oh yeah,
Oh, hey. Guys,
Yeah.
we're getting rated in chat.
are we?
Yeah. Welcome
Hey,
from Summoners Network.
this like almost never happens.
Yeah,
Hey,
no.
folks.
Hey, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. We're getting all set to mess up a local warlord sort of situation. So grab a drink, chill out, and we're in that good playing pretend situation. So thanks for
Hey,
coming
sure.
in. Thanks so much for the raid, and hopefully stick around for the cool stories. Speaking of cool stories, I probably would grab Veronica
Mm-hmm.
and be like, "Hey, you should ask." What was her
Lavinia.
name? What was it?
Lavinia. I looked it up.
Lavinia.
Lavinia.
Yeah, I'd be like, you should ask her like all about herself. Veronica's constantly making notes and trying to learn stuff. Get that story. Try and pull her out of her shell.
All right.
Veronica, young reporter.
Yes.
I'm like, I feel like there's
Investigative journalist.
feel like there's a peer situation that we could take advantage of.
I
Yeah.
also was trapped by someone terrible.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I had a demon in my body.
Yeah.
Oh, the thing is, though, it's very strange for Fate Witches. Like, the way she was is probably not. She was trying to be the ideal Fate Witch, which isn't great for like the broader public, but like she's gonna need some time to figure out that that's not how the rest of the world works.
Yeah, but Veronica steps up to this challenge the same way she steps up to every challenge. Basically reassures you that she is on it and will try to do that. You actually can catch some of her earlier attempts, which are met with limited success. Until she gets used to the girl's delivery and her.
I do feel at least somewhat responsible to at least see where her skills are, because like, I'm probably, well, I don't know about the other Fate Witches that are at my shop, whether any of them would outrank me as far as skill is concerned, but
You gonna
Could be.
you can try and form a Fate Witch coven?
I mean, kind of, a little bit.
Hell
I
yeah.
mean, the whole idea I've got, I mean, there's reasons.
You've got Jose. She wants a coven. It's just,
Hey.
Yeah.
I mean, there's reasons why the Fate Wishes are so feared. My idea has always been that they can govern themselves, but in order to do that, I have to establish rules. Oh my god, I have enough Fate Witches now that I have to actually think about this.
Well, you do.
Well, also, I've got someone else to help me with the shop now, so I can concentrate on this. Okay, anyway.
No, I love it. I'm here for it. I support it.
The future.
Yes.
But as I peel off Veronica, I try and find Ricardo alone.
Well,
And,
I'm doing Lavinia's hair.
Ricardo?
Oh, yeah.
Ricardo, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you,
was like,
Zhenya,
Carlos?
you're doing Lavinia's hair as Veronica is talking to Lavinia because it's a suitable distraction, and it's Veronica's trying. She's reformulating a lot of questions because Lavinia has a tendency to deflect, not maliciously, but sort of in the what kind of answer are you looking for kind of
Right.
way, which Veronica is,
What
trying
would you
to,
like me to like?
yeah.
Yeah.
She's sort of trying to reframe and sort of tighten her questions to not leave her as many wiggle rooms, which is
Also, it's like super hard because like she's a fate witch and can kind of tell things already, even if you're trying to hide them.
Yes, but Veronica is free of fate.
You're right. She's the perfect friend.
yep.
It's like I planned it that way. It's great.
Yes. Rethel, you're a genius.
Everything's
Get it?
coming up, Rethel. But
There's a as you're doing Lavinia's hair, you can feel the slightest hint of discomfort.
Oh, because she can't. Oh, right.
Because she's not quite sure what to make of your sister.
Right. Or something.
First
I mean,
there's the-
what else doesn't have faith?
Right? First there's the crazy Norseman that can't be read, and then there's this other one that's just locked out of everything. Ugh, this is the worst for her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just sort of passed by Ricardo while he's probably just putzing, and I'm like, "Oh, do we have a date yet?"
He at first he's sort of like, date for what? And then he pauses, and then he's like, oh. Well, since I was proposed to, we've jumped from one ship to the
Yeah,
next.
no sell, just
Right.
yeah.
And I don't know.
I mean, if
Okay.
you do it on this ship, can't Rethel just officiate it?
Oh,
I mean,
technically, I'm not the captain. I'm more the admiral. The commodore.
Yeah. Ask.
or we can just wait until we've handled with this this entire Inquisition situation, and then just appropriate a church or something.
Yeah.
Well, there is a little church
Yeah.
where we're gonna build our home.
Yep.
That's right. So, yeah, it's
She needs to hear back from her cousin Olga first.
Ah.
yes.
Okay.
Which is more or less the answer you're getting from Ricardo. Is well, there's family that needs to be part of it. Most of mine is gone, but there's still a few folks. There's the old man up here. I want him here at Eugenia. Want some of her family in, but you're right. We should pick a date. We should make this. I'll do this.
Well, I just wanted to know to make sure Magnus and I had enough time to, get our guests together. Some of them are going to have to travel a long way, so.
There's a bit of a pause
You got a family.
as you mentioned that, and he looks delighted and apprehensive.
Oh, yeah.
All at the same time.
And I laugh just like in his face a little, like it's kind of
Right.
It's like
He
Welcome to the family.
you'll be okay.
he tells you like, oh, that's great, but the pitch is just like a little too high. That's great.
You should see if you can do the reception
I
at
get
at the what's that place called again?
Oh, at the restaurant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Salazar.
Oh hell! Oh, you know it. Oh, you know it.
Yeah.
That party's gonna travel from the church down to the dock. It's gonna be
No,
great.
no, it has to be with Roberto in
With who?
his inn.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, right.
we'll
But
have
we
the
can.
we'll have the
There
bachelor
can be an
bachelorette party.
after reception pub crawl. Get
Bachelor.
over there.
No, yeah, the bachelor bachelorette party is gonna be before through the town, and
Oh
then
man,
yeah, I love it.
you're gonna be like,
I was like, no.
sick.
I don't even think I had any of these things. I
get
mean,
I get a little quieter, and I lean into Ricardo, and I'm like, do you, since you were the one who was proposed to, you need a dowry?
You get like an expletive in Castilian as he leans over like a coiled rope, and he's like,
man, y'all are just like this is uncharted territory,
Yeah,
guys.
like, I'm like, because I asked because I could help, like I just because we're family,
he's basically like, shit, I hope not.
Yeah, your daddy, I can give you away,
Oh, Roberto's gonna give him away. Like that part, I don't need to do that. That's fine. But
Yes, but
That's the closest
what
thing
everyone
to-
still doesn't know is that Jenny is a landowner and is like fucking filthy rich.
right,
That's right.
She just refuses to live that way.
yeah, she just don't care about that stuff.
Yeah. Ricardo, to the contrary, you see him doing some mental math, and yeah, there's some mutterings about a bag of something that's buried between here and the carrion crow's hideout.
oh yeah, I
That-
look up at
Is there an
the
X mark?
sky. I look up at the sky and I go, oh, and the crows, they're going to need to be invited too. Oh goodness.
All of Jenya's old people friends.
Ooh, maybe we can get that
Oh, yeah.
eyeball back to that poor man she stole it from.
It shows up in the hair.
She's braiding the fucking hair.
Yeah. Ricardo just laughs and he's like, oh, Janos, like he has a bag full of them. Don't feel bad for him.
Oh no, I had hoped so.
They're all different colors too, like, and
I
I don't know
noticed.
if they're just props. Who knows? Like,
That makes me think of The Last Action Hero, where he's got like the thing full of glass eyes, and like the one of them is a bomb.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
And they all have like, there's like a happy face one, and
yep, yep.
there's an 8-ball.
Wow.
Thank you for the deep cut. Nice.
Last Action Hero, baby. Yeah.
Topical. Love it.
Hey, I love that movie. I don't care what anybody.
I have not seen it in a long time.
That fucking
We
Hamlet
watched it.
segment.
We watched it like a couple of years ago because it was streaming somewhere, and we were like, "Oh shit, The Last Action Hero!" So we watched it like this movie is fucking stupid.
Yep.
It's so ridiculous, but it's such a great time while
I
it's
think
I
it
know.
knew it. I'm pretty sure it knew it, so it just leaned right into it. So like
Yeah.
a movie by The Rock. It's just okay.
Yeah. No, it's great. That
All right.
that Hamlet movie trailer will brighten my day. Day of the week.
Where a man has too many eyes.
That's right. But yeah, he's like, that it's a good. I hope not, because between the clothes that are on me right now, my guns, and maybe a couple of things that I got.
I like how
stashed at the
he
old
thinks he
man's.
needs to pay for his own clothes.
I think I have like maybe 3 coins to my name, and I got to keep 2 of them just to make heat in the winter. So
I like put my finger like right on his collarbone, like I'm gonna accuse him of something, and I go, "What do you mean? You're a partner."
Yeah, but is that like an actual like? I thought it was pretend.
There's nothing pretend about the coffers of this company.
Well, no. But I mean, I thought you just needed my name, and I was glad to.
Oh, I had the name already. I didn't need you for that.
He sort of pauses, like he has his both hands on his hips,
What?
Excellent.
like.
I'm like, Ricardo, at any time, go into the office, ask Jose for your salary, and they'll write it up for you.
Who is the back salary?
Oh, all right, I will. I will do that.
It's like, wait, you mean you were paying me this whole time?
You guys were getting paid?
You never asked.
Yeah, he 100% has the face of a man who you just told, like, what, you haven't been cashing your checks for the past, like,
Right.
4 months? So,
Like what?
I thought my payment was the cool chick I got.
right? He was like, I was along for the ride. Like, everything was great, but
I mean, admittedly, it's a great catch.
He makes an attempt at regaining composure, and he's like, yeah, no, I will do that. That is my bad.
Yeah, and you know, if you need an end of the year bonus for whatever, you know, just write one for yourself. You know, it's fine. That's the perks. It's good to be the owner.
You get a nice crack in it as he's trying to play it off, and he's like, oh yeah, sure, you know, and
and then I
I imagine him like tipping his head down so like his hat covers his face while he's like,
yep.
Like, God, why didn't I think of this before?
Yeah.
He's got a good like anime shadow like over the top half of the
his
face.
feather like bristles like a cat tail as an extension.
Yep.
And I sort of tap the railing, and I'm like, yeah, one of them gets the girl, the other one gets the bear. And whoops.
Lost Lisa.
Yeah. Well, let me. We're gonna be a podcast here for just a second.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
There was a blip.
No worries. We're podcasting for just a hot second while I rearrange windows. All right. Let's see if I can shuffle everyone back to where
just
they
as you
were
were mentioning the bear.
We changed routers today.
Oh, right.
On top of everything else, so
Sure.
It just like blipped for a second. I was like, ah.
Okay. Almost got it. But yeah, so I'm done tormenting everyone on the boat.
You can't find anyone else to torment.
Oh, I can. I got stuff for Jimena, but that's later.
I mean, as much torment as telling a man, like, you know, you're getting paid, right? Just like
Zhenya did ask him about the whole like Mendez thing.
Yeah. But he didn't catch that was that. Like, he was basically just like, yeah, he wanted to use my name. That's fine. I'm Mendez. He's Mendez. And, you know, that works.
So great.
Aw.
That's
like
sweet.
pat him on the head, like, aw.
Right.
Bless your heart.
He's like that kid that's always hung out with losers, and now suddenly he's just like, what? Like, you have like a legit business? Like, this is not some con we're running here. Like, this is all above board. All right. Any other business people are taking while you're waiting?
I mean, no. I mean, I spend more time with my hubby.
Yeah.
And
he does come out.
He comes out once in a while. I let him out now and then.
He's actually out of the boat for the majority of it, sort of chatting with folks. He does get a nod from Lavinia when he passes by, and he sort of looks at her. They have almost the same look on their faces. Like he looks at her and sort of looks slightly dejected. And so does she when she looks at him. In fact, she actually stares down at the ground after she looks at him.
Right. Oh, I guess that is a conversation we'll have to have later.
Almost like
Bum, bum.
you see almost like a trace of she's feeling ashamed, maybe.
No,
Shame is
she
good.
absolutely-
I can work with shame. Shame's a good
Yeah.
start.
Sure
When
can.
Genya is done with Lavinia's hair, she looks like the most proper noble woman with like little baby's breath flower weaved into it and all
We
the
don't
pretty
know where she
braids and
got it.
twists.
We've been at sea for a day or two. Like, it's weird.
It's like Rapunzel.
Oh,
Yep.
actually, Xenia? Never mind. Yeah, no, I know where she got it. Okay.
For all you know, plants might grow off of her whenever she feels like.
She's got a
It's
couple
just
jars.
pulled off her fingers.
Well, she's always got like smudgy, dirty cheeks and like, she probably has a handful of dirt in her pocket.
Not just
Yeah.
for Samisi anymore.
That's for dirty fighting. Pocket dirt.
Boo. When's Jose show up? I'm tired of this shit.
Hey, you know what you signed up for.
Yeah.
So wait, are we
Yeah,
waiting?
Jimena-
Or are
Yeah,
we
because we
waiting-
don't want anyone to see us go to see Salvadora, so
Yeah.
we have to go under the cover of
Yeah.
darkness.
I just wanted
Under
Jose
the cover.
Luis to show up so we could let him know, that to sort of move people around so that it'd be easier for us to move around.
Mm-hmm.
And then at nightfall, we hop out and reintroduce people.
Yep. About an hour after lunch, in fact, a very small detachment of city guards makes its way into the shipyard. And
How
at the
those
head
uniforms?
of the detachment, they are back to blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
At the head of the detachment,
We never liked that red. It looked a little too pink.
Yeah.
wearing the trimmed cloak of the captain, is Jose, accompanied by his second in command, also wearing the same colors. Both of them look very, sure of themselves until the moment where the boat is in sight, and they seem to revert back slightly at just the sight of the boat.
PTSD.
Well, just like for just the briefest of moments, they look like, do we really fill in these uniforms properly or not? Like they're about to step in front of their grandparents to be judged.
As
Aww.
soon as they show up, whatever Jimena was doing, as soon as she notices that they were there, she like drops everything and she's like, ah! And she comes over to be like, oh, you look so handsome in your uniform. Oh my goodness. And she's like fussing with his
She's
Jason, she turns
effectively
to-
a rocket because Rethold is giving the longest whistle as they approach. So
Nice.
and because his second in command is Josefina, right?
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And she's like, you look so pretty in your uniform. She's like, basically everybody's Mexican grandma just showed up to be
Hell
like,
yeah.
oh, mira. Oh, mis hijos. Like,
but that's exactly what happened. So yeah, no, it's
Yeah, that gives them the boost of confidence they need. Jose stands just a little straighter, takes off his hat to greet you properly. You see the other guardsmen sort of turning away as it so happen, like they're closing the march, but they're sort of watching the rear as The captain and the vice captain
They're watching the rear.
are getting greeted,
Nice.
as we all are. It's not long before more people start to come off the ship to go and greet them. Ricardo actually steps up from his conversation with Rethel, then basically goes to shake Jose's hand.
They probably like if Leandro's up to it, I'll be like, okay, here's some more people to introduce you to.
Well, yeah.
Here's some more to help you remember.
Like,
but that's
like-
okay. I'll keep telling them to you until you remember.
Yeah, just like leaning on the railing. I'll be like, so, Captain, perhaps there's some goods on board you need to inspect.
Yes, that's what I'm told. So we will take this detachment and go to a full inspection. And he sort of raises a finger, and the crew sort of steps to attention. And he's like, we should go in and give these goods a proper inspection, as our tip told us. Leave no stone unturned.
I chuckle as I say, the blatant gull gladly welcomes the captain of the guard of San Felipe.
You get a bow from the both of them, and Josefina pipes in with a thank you for your cooperation. Very much appreciate it.
Oh my goodness.
Wait till we have the Spider-Man moment in the hold when he meets Delanville.
Yep. But yeah, you get followed aboard the ship. The men are sent to inspect the merchandise, and as they step away, the formalities drop much more. Jose seems thoroughly pleased to see you all. He basically begins saying, I'm sure you have a lot to report. It feels a little odd, to be quite honest, to know you have been out there and not have been a part of it.
Well, who knows? Maybe that will change sooner than later. Come on below.
They
trying
follow
to
suit.
to meet the real captain. Well,
There's
Hey, Jose is a real captain.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. He got the
I'm
job.
not even there, so
Done the job for at least 2 days? 3?
Yeah, you would be here.
Oh.
Yeah. Third day on the job now. Full 3 days, so he's expected to be an expert at this point.
Some jobs.
Yeah, you would be there now, Marilena. So if you wanted to introduce Leandro to them,
I mean, yeah, I do the honors, I suppose.
they greet him almost with deference, as Jose basically mentions, we've heard a lot about you, sir. Pleasure to finally get to meet you in the flesh and seemingly in good health. Same with Josefina. They
Good
both
things,
seem
of course.
very delighted to see them. With that, the crew moves to cozy little room below deck. Everybody sits down, and Jose sort of leans and says, "So what can I do for you?"
I'm like, well, this ship, newly of the Port de San Jose, a small island off the coast here. There's a small outpost out there, well armed, well staffed. There's another ship in the fleet, a Phoenix Call, newly fitted for seaworthiness. But this evening's cargo is a most exquisite return to San Felipe. And I sort of knock on the adjoining bunk room, which is the older captain's signal to come in and introduce himself.
Yeah, Landreville basically steps out at the signal and sort of pulls the hood of his cloak. Jose is to his feet almost immediately.
He recognizes him?
In recognition.
Captain.
And he basically says, I cannot tell you how delighted I am to see you alive, Captain. And
oh wait, he's like from there.
Landreville sort of raises his good hand and says, I hear that title has passed on now, so be careful. There might be ears around. You need to embody the office in everything you do. Otherwise, you will lose respect of your men. And Jose basically sort of takes a step back and is like, I apologize, just force of habit. I have quite big shoes to fill.
Your shoes now.
Josefina sort of coughs in the background and sort of goes and extends a hand to Landreville as well. Landreville basically indicates the seats, and he sort of sits down too, and says, if you would, how fares the city and how fares the guard? And Jose lets out like a long sigh and says, well,
here we go.
The move worked as intended, in the sense that it quite frustrated the Prophet's Sword and the Inquisition. Although they were loath to show it openly, they had to bow down to the governor's wishes. Of course, we've had to increase security at the governor's mansion because the Sword and the Inquisition both assumed that the governor would be too spineless to make any move against them. And so that miscalculation is not something they will repeat. They will either try to silence him or to strip power from him altogether. Of course, with Grande Serafina also being placated, they don't have an easy plan for a fallback. This will imply the church taking power in San Felipe, which will, despite the current public opinion, not be a popular avenue. So I'm certain they're looking for solutions right now. One of the main issues I'm dealing with is that the men are split in their devotions. There are some who feel the games of Cloak and Dagger are not what they signed up for, and that the city itself is suffering while there's a power struggle between the Prophet's Sword and the governor. So I'm afraid to say that I have not been in office long enough to have the trust of all the men, although I'm working on the ones I can. And with Serafina's help, we're trying to build a foothold of trustworthy folks so that we can continue to back yours and the governor's plan. Of course, if the previous captain was to reappear and throw in his lot with Governor Perez once again, the public opinion would shift quite strongly in the governor's favor, maybe for the first time in his entire career.
Also,
Wow.
Our plan, Captain. You are a conspirator currently.
he sort of pauses, and Josefina is sort of shaking her head, saying, "We are complicit through and through." Jose says, "Yes, yes, absolutely." He turns towards Landreville and basically says, "I believe the governor will be thrilled to see you. I think the man is caving in slightly to the pressures that are being put upon him. I have word that Cardinal Verdugo himself is starting to put pressures on good King Sandoval to potentially remove the governor from function, as he's being ineffectual in quelling rebellion in San Felipe."
Is Jimena in the room for this
Oh, yeah,
conversation?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the mention of Cardinal Verdugo, all the candles or lanterns in the room like flare up and then come back.
Yeah. This is the top dog, the leader of the Inquisition.
Yeah.
As a good Castilian, Jimena, I am sure mention of good King Sandoval stirs up some patriotism, but the viper is in his ear.
Yep. How dare you leave our sweet king alone?
Right. So I sort of nod as everything sort of gets laid out, and I'm like, "Well, we're obviously here to tend to that. And this evening, there will be some reintroductions made in the city. I'm sure we can trust that the city guard will keep things safe and quiet this evening, while good friends meet with other good friends."
Aww.
Or cat.
Yes, more cat.
Oh, yes.
Josefina actually steps in, holding a little book that she's obviously been writing in, and says, "I am assuming you're looking for an occasion to reveal the truth about the former captain. And as luck would have it, we might have such an opportunity. Following the news that a new guard captain had been christened and that the city was no longer in need of the Prophet's sword to fill in for the city guard, the Prophet's sword has tried to come up with a counterattack supported by the church and the Inquisition. They will be holding a public forum in 2 days where the good Inquisitor will be
Such a whiny cat.
asking the populace to support greater measures for the Prophet's sword to continue to police the city, citing the recent unrest, the fact that an inexperienced guard sits at the head of the city guard. And she sort of looks to Jose like, meaning like a no offense, and Jose's like,
Yeah. Everyone in this room knows that's
I know how this game is played,
Yeah.
sort of deal. And she says, while this is overtly an attempt at consulting the populace and asking for their agreement on giving more power to the Prophet's sword, in a sense, it's mostly for show, as they do intend to make this happen. However, if Captain de Landreville was to show during that event and expressed his complete opposition to such a plan, and express his faith into the city guard's current incarnation. I'm assuming this will not go as the church has planned.
And I just sort of like nod over at Laundreville.
Laundreville says, absolutely. I am not sure whether you overestimate my hold over the people of San Felipe, but if my voice can sway them and prevent the Prophet's Sword from wrestling even more power in the city, then by all means, I absolutely will.
Well, I think at the very least your triumphant return and perhaps a promotion to Lieutenant Governor or something such like that, which is why you are not reassuming the role of Captain of the Guard, and informing the populace of your endorsement of the new captain, having been instrumental in part of your own recovery. We'll gloss over details on that one, as well as his service in Ison during some recent policing action of issues up there, which absolutely is experience. I'm sure would not hurt at all.
By all means, that all sounds absolutely fair, and I would be more than happy to stick it up to them.
And I'm like, oh, and of course, being a devout adherent of the Prophet's word, having previously been with the sword,
That all seems fair.
When is this open forum?
In 2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
Which will give us time to prepare.
And
In my head, because you're talking about how they went from red to blue, it just makes me think of that part at the end of like the 90s Three Musketeers movie where they're like, everybody's there and they all rip off their cloaks and like, oh, they've got their musketeer out like uniform still.
Yeah.
And because the Cardinals guards are red, the musketeers are blue. So.
Absolutely.
Come, Jose, we're saving the king.
I mean, kind of.
Ryan Adams is going to be there.
It's going to be great. It's
Oh,
gonna be great.
yeah.
Hey, anytime you can get Tim Curry.
The
It will be in the public place, the same one where the two inquisitors were originally presented to the populace.
Well, we'll see if there's still two inquisitors at that point.
Oh, yeah.
I have somebody to visit when I get back.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, we will also ensure your movements in the city are completely unimpeded. If you let me know which routes you're planning to take, I will ensure that we have patrols and that the Prophet's Sword are nowhere around where you are supposed to be.
That brings up a good point. How do we want to attack that for the evening? I would imagine Marlena wants to go talk to someone. We know that the ex-captain needs to go talk to someone. And at least one of us needs to go talk to Salvadora. Do we want anyone to go talk to the restaurant? I don't feel like we need to do that.
Not right now, but
probably not this
do we
evening.
do we need to do all of this right away?
Well,
or like do we have to do it separately?
Yeah, that's
we
what
can do.
I'm like, do we need to split the party, or can we just go boom boom boom?
I think that we should at least all go to meet Salvadora.
Okay. Yeah, we should probably at least see Salvadora all together.
I see the boss first, right?
Jose sort of pipes in and says, how are we planning to keep Monsieur de Landreville hidden away for 2 days?
Is he gonna stay with us?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he can come with us if he wants. He can chill here on the ship if he wants. This ship isn't under any scrutiny, as it's from a different location, never been seen before, and
He's also missing an arm.
yeah, he's a different
Yeah,
guy.
And if we need to, we do
Entirely
have someone with
different
eye
silhouette.
job experience,
The makeover.
right?
He's got more
Jenya very
facial-
nonchalantly says, he can stay in Ricardo's room.
Ricardo's like, yeah, that's absolutely true. There's a few avenues.
And what's he comfortable with? You know, we're good with whatever he's good with.
He sort of thinks about it for a moment and basically says, well, for the sake of this plan and to ensure that as little as possible goes awry, I feel it probably best that I stick with you for the time being, lest we get separated, sidetracked, or otherwise impeded. As long as I get to go speak with Carlos at some point, I am fine with following you.
It's on the list.
Oh yeah, we'll probably talk to Our Lady first, and then we can go talk to Carlos. You know, have that nice reunion, and then Marilena, would you like to perhaps send word ahead for a mutual meeting place, or
For which?
for your person? I don't know how cheeky we're being about this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I went to see him alone last time.
Yeah.
Alone.
Not alone.
Well, yes.
I mean, to be fair, you shouldn't let Jimena anywhere near him.
Oh
No.
yeah.
Wait, no, Jenya
Yeah.
showed herself after a while, though.
Right.
if I
Yeah.
remember.
Well, Jimena will still punch him
No,
at
no,
the
I
very
know.
least.
I know.
You know, whenever you go to meet that guy, Jimena can't be there. 'Cause she's
We can have Jimena check on the house.
Sure.
Yeah, Jimena can do literally anything else but be in the room with the Inquisitor,
Jimena.
regardless of whether or not we like him.
Maybe Jimena can go stop by the restaurant just to keep our friend.
I mean, if she needs to speak to Sebastian, then that would be totally
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I think that might be great.
Nice.
All right. So it sounds like Salvadora first.
Yeah.
Jose basically, once there's a game plan in place, Jose steps up. Josefina steps up as well. Both put their hats on. Jose says, give me maybe about a year to get the travel routes arranged, and after that you can move freely.
Yeah, they got till nightfall.
Good.
And they're also brutally attacked in a bear hug.
There's no fighting it at this point. Jose leans into it.
I bet he's been needing some of that. It's been a minute since he's seen his
It's been a
papa.
minute.
Yeah.
Like 3-4 days after like nonstop contact. It was just
Mhm.
separation anxiety there.
Yeah.
Jimena is like fawning over Josefina. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
She
Good job. You
as
graduated.
you do that, like you see a hint of her previous self sort of coming through as her cheeks sort of color a little bit, but she seems to find a wellspring of pride in who she's become, and as you bring her close in a hug, you actually get Jimena a whispered thank you for believing in me.
Aw.
No,
All the lamps in the room get brighter again.
But
For a
warm
different
this time.
better reason.
Right?
Somehow it's warmer instead of intense.
Instead of threatening. Yeah.
Ricardo is actually to the side, and as the lamps get brighter, like you see him peek above board and like reaching for his gun, like
Did she smell Prophet's sword? What?
are
Oh,
we about to get boarded? But then like he sees the moment and sort of relaxes. But for a second, the brightening of the lamps was like Inquisition.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, you exchange embraces, and then Jose and Josefina salute and leave to get to work. You hear Jose yell at the man in the hold asking for a report.
Okay.
And-
So I was looking at my notes about how I'm supposed to contact Mazabi.
Hmm.
I have to do it through my shop, so
Ah.
Yep.
at some point I have to go over there.
So that'll probably be tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Probably.
Cool.
When Jimena hears Jose like barking orders at the other guard people, she's like, "Oh, they grow up so fast,
Right?
don't they?"
It's impressive.
Jimena, do you think they'll
It's like, "Oh, I hope so."
yeah, I mean I'm good either way. I just it would be cute. Where's the dog?
As soon as you say that, Jimena is off in like a fantasy
Totally
world.
Like, where's the dog? Did we give them the dog? They should start with the
No,
dog.
the dog is still at the house, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
the dog is still
Let the
there,
dog at the house
but
with Xavier and Augustine.
Jose likes that dog, so I don't think Jose would be opposed to
So many weddings to plan for.
Right?
Zhenya's still convinced she's gonna hook up Veronica with one of your Ison boys.
Hey, not impossible.
Nice.
Or like force Rethel to make an honest woman of her.
I trying to make a warrior, not a princess out of her. All right, it's a
Rethel's lady is the sea.
little
That's
bit,
right.
little bit.
Tied down.
Rethel's
I
got
mean, I
other
think
plans.
it would be a really
You keep
great.
pulling my sister away from me and making her stray from our teachings, and I'm gonna make you.
You know the truth. Rethold's lady is Magnus, and we all know it.
True enough.
Mhm.
And now I'm staring off, going like,
Right, yeah.
Right? I imagine their marriage ceremony would involve like braiding their beards together.
oh no, beard fasting.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Ah, we got
Now
there.
I'm imagining a Harlequin novel, but
Oh
it's
man.
that a handshake from Predator between Carl Weathers and that's
Oh, yeah.
the cover of the novel. It's just
Yes.
two shirtless, muscled men.
Oh,
You know.
there we
Oh,
go.
bye.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're just hitting
It's just
all the greatest
Vader.
hits tonight.
That's
Love
why
it.
you keep it to us.
Yes.
Quality
Yes.
content.
Raiders or the fan came on. That's how you know we got the spicy content.
Yeah.
Fan.
Yeah. To those of you who joined us through the raid or joined us late, you're welcome. We hope to continue to provide this spicy content for a very specific subset of people.
You know who you are.
Right.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to write that novel, paint the cover, title it Raiders.
Oh
I'm-
yeah.
I will
Oh.
buy
Yeah.
No. It's the Raiders saga, and then each one is like, like the Clasp is the first installment, right? And then it's
Oh, you have that slow build. Could
Yeah.
have multiple chapters.
fuck, I
It's
might
like the
write it. Damn.
North Eddas, right?
Well, and at least one of the books has to have something about a duke in the title.
Oh yes.
If we're going both with the theme of our game and the theme of a Harlequin romance, there has to be a duke somewhere.
It's like no,
the
it's like
errant Duke.
no, yeah,
Part
it's like
2 of the Raider saga.
like the Duke's Woods, and we'll just weave 3 different obscure things into it. Yeah, and then it's a euphemism. It's great.
Then it's been a strange arrow through time.
Right. Every 3 chapters, she's got to be like, which of the 3 captains is this? I hear it's the Duke.
One day I'm going to stab the Duke.
Yeah, one day.
One day.
Oh man.
You have to find a Duke.
What
You have
else
to
are
be
we
able to
doing?
get around the
What else
Duke.
is happening? What else is going on? We're just writing fanfic now. Our own fanfic.
I saw Lisa's dying comment.
Yes. Yes.
Oh wow.
All right.
So do we see Salvador? Do we like die laughing along the way?
Well,
The end.
smelly. Nice. Well done. Well done. Yeah, so after nightfall, you basically go and travel unimpeded. You actually see some of the city guards sort of maintaining perimeters. The city seems different than when you left it, in the sense
In a
that
good way?
you see a lot less red cloaks.
Hell yeah.
So that's already an improvement.
Those are our kids, all right. That's what's up.
And yeah, the city does seem to have that weird vibe, and there's still a little bit of chaos but the guards, at least the ones you see, seem almost like a comforting presence. So you managed to make it to the estate as usual. You're greeted through the gate and can take the side road through the gardens leading to the back entrance. You are led into the room, and contrary to usual, where you usually have to wait, there's already people in the room, and Salvadora is immediately approaching to greet you as you cross the threshold of the door. Whoa. She obviously was at some sort of function prior to this, or at least that's your guess, because she is wearing her best evening wear. Her hair is up in a crazy sort of arrangement, but demeanor does not change for the slightest. And she welcomes you with the warmth of a grandmother welcoming all of her grandchildren home. Luna Maria is there, and you get a gracious nod from her as well. They obviously had been chatting in here, as there's a map of the city laid out on sort of the war table, so to speak. And there's some pins being placed in it, and some little marks being placed on it. But there's still that side table with all kinds of morsels and drinks for you to enjoy, and you're being ushered inside.
I head straight to the war table.
And
I put my finger on Isla de San Jose, and I'm like, you have a friendly outpost here now.
I believe you'll have to update the name as well.
Without a moment of hesitation, Luna Maria does so. Basically, puts a pin in the colors of Salvadora's company and basically changes the name on the map, as you get a duly noted.
As soon as there's an opportunity, I will introduce Leandro to Maria and Salvadora.
Salvadora looks delighted at the sight of the man you introduce. He very graciously grabs her hand, kisses the back of it, and sort of bows in his best courtly bow, which she lets him go through all the motions and then gives him a fairly ginger hug. You're close enough, Marilena, to hear her whisper to him, "Welcome home."
Aww.
Aw.
He looked sort of fazed by that at first, and he probably had some kind of smooth entrance planned, and that goes right out the window as he slightly chokes up and sort of regains his composure.
Just rub his back. That's
And
all right.
he manages to utter, "It is an absolute pleasure to finally get to meet you in the flesh." There is a nod being exchanged from Luna Maria as well. She actually steps forward to come and shake his hand. There's almost a look of recognition between the two, even though this is clearly the first moment they see each other. And she sort of steps aside, and Salvadora is like, "Please, sit. Tell me, what have you found?" And as she says that, Landoville pulls the hood of his cloak down.
No, and the reveal.
Boom.
Then he had a cloak on. Nice.
She takes a step back and looks absolutely ecstatic for just a second, and she marches right over. And for those of you who speak Montaigne, in Montaigne, basically says to the captain, "Welcome back to your home, Monsieur de Landreville. This city has missed you dearly, and I'm sure you will have much of a role to play in the days to come." And he responds also in Montaigne, "You do me too much honor, madame, but I will play the part that I'm assigned, nonetheless." And so she sort of takes a step back and goes to serve herself a drink, and was like, "There is quite a story there, I am sure, but I am convinced that I will hear all the good details in time. For now, tell me what you have learned and what you intend to do next. As you can see, your gambit has paid off, and the balance of power has tipped once again. We need to continue building on that momentum until it is fully in our favor."
Oh wow, I'm not prepared for this. Hold on. There's
Loading.
something I had to talk about with Sophia's daughters. But
I was like, did we bring Lavinia?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not letting
And
her
or
out of sight.
Rodrigo?
Yeah, we've got a whole crew.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
I mean,
deep.
if we did bring Lavinia, then I probably would have also introduced her.
I would assume Rodrigo as well.
Basically,
I mean, we're hanging out by the snack table.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're doing damage.
Rodrigo was eyeing it the moment you stepped in, but like he's following your cue. The moment you give
Fancy snacks.
the okay, He's posted right there with you.
So I guess the gist of it is that basically the Mondavi have gotten pretty close to the to Sophia's daughters, or outing at least some part of them, of the organization. Part of the reason why Leandro was imprisoned was because he took the place of an agent, so that they wouldn't be discovered. But there's still definitely they still definitely have, like, they're actively looking, basically, to take the Sophia's daughters down.
Yeah, actually, as you mentioned that, Leandro steps back to his feet and basically politely is like, if I may. And Salvador sort of indicates for him to speak freely. And he basically says the snare is closing in on many of the branches in the homeland. Giovanni Villanova has an inkling that a fate witch has been conspiring against him. And you see Salvadora sort of lose her composure for just a second in a look of what you can best describe as disgust. And Leandro says, I am sure you're aware one of the top agents is placed rather close to him, and she is playing quite a dangerous game right now. For the moment, he does not suspect her, but his rage has convinced all 7 of the merchant princes to crack down heavily on those who aid and abet the theft. And he looks like he's using the word with much disgust of fate witches. Your name, Madame Salvadora, is prominent among those lists, as they understand you are quite highly placed and difficult to touch, but there is suspicions that you are aiding in at least the transport of these fate witches outside of the country. For that, the Mondavi have dispatched one of the scions to San Felipe, where he is to run an operation, find proof of your involvement, and either publicly disgrace you, or failing that, if public opinion will not be swayed, to end your life so that you may not continue to aid the daughters.
Well, great. Now we got to put that on the slap board to find this dumb shit and murder the hell out of him. All right, cool.
So wait, is this person already here?
Uh-huh.
I'd imagine so.
The person that's already on my list.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's fucking Julia, whatever her last name is. That dumb bitch.
Oh.
I bet.
If you do mention her,
Yeah.
Who's Lombard?
Julia
Yep.
Lombardo,
Yeah.
That's one of my
Leandro,
main notes that I have is
Yeah.
Julia Lombardo must die.
Yeah, because you and I had that interaction with her, and I was like, fuck
She's
that
not
hoe.
okay. I didn't like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, no ho.
She actually
No.
hurt Evine. That's how bad she is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julia Lombardo absolutely works for Francesco Mondavi. She also has connection to the sword captain Lucio Voritelli.
Yeah.
As rumors would have it, they trained at the same school when they were kids.
Hey, what's the name? Giovanni
Villanova,
Villanova. There we go.
the one of the 7 merchant princes,
But he's like the big one, right?
head of the Villanova family. You know that his wife is probably one of the most prominent.
Is she the scary one?
No,
No.
you're thinking of Beatrice
Yes,
Calgary.
I am.
His wife is one of the most prominent fate witches in all of
Carmelita
Wadachi.
Mondavi. I have that one written down. She's the pocket witch that we need to watch out for.
Who is?
Carmelita.
Carmelita.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They've struck an alliance with the Inquisition because right now their goals are aligned.
Oh, why can't I remember the dude's name though?
Francesco.
Oh yeah, dude that was yelling at a whole bunch.
That's right. He was the one when you arrived that was loudly yelling about stolen property.
Didn't I set him on fire or something?
God, I hope so.
I feel like I did something to him. He didn't die though, I don't think.
No,
No.
he didn't.
I don't remember. I killed somebody
I ripped
that day.
apart and ate one of his people
Yep.
on a rooftop.
Remember that.
Oh yeah. They had some people after you,
I
and
feel,
you killed all of them but one. One of
Yep.
them escaped.
I feel like we have to find a way to get rid of all of our enemies, like as close together as possible, because
We just need to inglorious bastards it. Get them all in the same building and then burn it down.
I feel like if any one of them like manages to get out, then this cycle will perpetuate.
At
You
this
gotta
point,
cut off all the heads.
at this
It's the only
point,
way to hide guys.
we've got so many swords at this point that I'm like, can't we just like occupy San Felipe? And
It's not necessarily out of your reach at this point.
I mean, all I have to do is go crow and flutter into their windows in the middle of the night while they're sleeping and slit their throats one by one.
I
I
think
couldn't do it to the Fate Witches, but I can do it to all the other the mundane people.
Well, the Fate Witches are probably helping out. But that said, I think the main thing is that we want to have the people support,
yeah,
because then when we get rid of the garbage, they
yeah.
will be happy about it.
Gotta watch out for them
We don't
power
like-
vacuums.
So I guess doing this whole thing with Londavi, like get the people's hopes up about the future and that there's an option besides the Inquisition, and then just murder them. we can finesse first and then stab it.
Right?
No, I feel like that's been the plan.
Yeah.
Salvadora seems unfazed at those news.
I mean, you probably knew some of this already or suspected it. It's just
Suspected is more the right word, although I feel very concerned about our sisters in Wadachi.
Mm,
it's a much larger problem.
But with this information, there are certainly things we can do. We've not held out against the whims of the merchant princes for so long without some guile of our own.
Yes.
God damn it.
Did you think of Street Fighter also?
Yeah, now I got Guile's theme stuck in my head. Yep.
Yep. I just
It goes with everything.
It does. It does. It's so good.
She basically says desperation is high right now from the Inquisition, so that does make sense that it would forge alliances to try to better their standing. The population is still divided, although the recent move has shifted the balance more in your camp. which has made, in turn, the Inquisition more desperate for any kind of leverage. The Carrion Crow has had to be even more vigilant and remain in hiding as efforts have been made to try to root them out of the city, both as a political move of their own, but also to potentially find more information about the supposedly missing General Chenier. Finding an old war criminal that supposedly escaped his due would give the Inquisition some clout with the Castilians, who are still mad about the war with Montaigne, especially if they were to publicly execute him. So they are all the more eager to find him. They will not, of course, but they will continue to try, which will put more of our allies in danger. Ricardo looks very uncomfortable at that whole segment. Genia, it's clear for a moment that he actually remembers his comrade in arms.
Oh no.
Who had to be put to death while he was in prison.
She moves from holding his hand to slipping like under his cloak with him.
Oh.
The gesture is very well welcomed.
To refresh my memory, this missing general, we're not worried about the missing general, right? This
is something that the Inquisition has been trying to find. So
it would be nice if they failed, but it's not like we need to find him.
This is an old thread that has been going around ever since the beginning of the game.
Oh,
he's a guy. He was a general from Montaigne who is known for carrying out like atrocities during the war, and he went missing.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
No one knows what happened to him.
Chenier.
How do you spell that?
So
C-H-I.
the Inquisition would want to find him.
No, that's
to make a public display of like, look, we found the guy that nobody likes.
Yeah.
Yep. So basically, yeah.
But he's been missing for like a really long time.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's almost like urban legend at this point. So the official story is that General Chenier died in battle near the end of the war.
Okay.
But he was a very successful general for Montaigne, and therefore he had like a really fearsome reputation. Urban legend says that he actually survived and went into hiding. So a lot of the "we hate Montaigne" Castilians are like, this guy just escaped divine punishment and he needs to answer for his crimes. There's also legends that he might have turned coat at some point and disappeared. But by most account, he died in battle. So there may be something to this, there may be not.
Okay, cool. And then the part I've also forgotten is the Carrion Crows. They're in hiding because they're illegal. They're like what? Why?
More or less.
Okay.
So the Carrion Crow started basically as a way to connect soldiers that basically had nowhere to go after the war. A lot of them were either cut off and were penniless, or their families didn't have any funding because there's no war to be fought now. So countries were sort of downsizing their militaries. Plus the conflict was quite bitter, so there's sort of a negative view of some of the people that fought into that. So it started as a, hey, let's connect soldiers together and support one another, support our families, get mercenary work if we need to. But as it evolved,
Mhm.
many of them started to harbor anti-royalty sentiments. And, because a lot of them felt abandoned by the crowns that they served, and that, nobility didn't give a shit about their plight. So there's there was a little bit more of a political current within the crows. And they're not welcome in a lot of cities because of that. Some people see them as dangerous insurgents, even though the general does not want to make the crows into like a revolutionary army or a political movement. There's some within their ranks who would not be mad at the idea of toppling a king or two.
In general, do we get the sense that the crows are not welcome in San Felipe either, or are they just not welcome in cities because of this apolitical status?
Usually in cities, they're obviously not welcome by the church in San Felipe, because the Inquisition is leaning hard on the king's side, and they see them as rebels. The Odiseo separation movement, so Grande, Seraphine, Sebastian, and their crew are very sympathetic to the crows. Governor Perez stays fairly neutral as far as that's concerned, does his job, and is not, really for or against.
So I'm going to float this idea. I wrote it down. This is sort of above character, but not out of character entirely. That if we can manage to root out the Prophet Sword, we can see if we can get what's her name? Who's the Grande?
Usha Seraphine.
Ushia Seraphine.
Yeah. If we can get Seraphine to offer the crows clemency by swearing allegiance to Odisea, which suggests or even just contract as a police force, it'll suggest that they've thrown in their lot with Castile, but doesn't technically mean they have, as it's still somewhat ambiguous as to whether or not Odisea wants to be independent. So there is some room for wiggle there should things shift, maintaining that sort of thing. Just as sort of floating an idea for how to get our crows out.
And it might force that conflict into the open at some point. The tension, basically, on paper, Ushia is the ruler of this land. She's the Gran Ducado. This is her territory, except this territory also is always on the verge of secession from the rest of Castile, because it's kind of unlike the rest of Castile. And San Felipe and Odiseo, I mean, on paper it's called the Gran Ducado of Gallegos, but the people who live here still call it by the old name, which is Odiseo. It's probably closer, if you want real world equivalents, it's a bit closer to Portugal than it is to Spain. And so they're different enough that they're like, this is our land, and we want to do what we want with it. The fact that there's a governor in this place is basically an attempt by the crown to remove power away from Seraphine, because they feel they can trust her and they fear insurrection. So they set this man who's largely ineffectual, he's basically a patsy, to take power away from her.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, if she pardons the crows, that would piss off the crown, wouldn't it?
It might.
Do we care?
Yeah, I don't know if I care. I'm just wondering if it would piss off the crown enough that they might mobilize to counter this army that suddenly she has?
Well, if Rethold is like analyzing sort of the geopolitical situation
Which
here,
he has no business doing.
And we haven't made a single roll, I just realized.
no,
Can we like roll it?
I mean you can, but all of this stuff you've been in San Felipe long enough to understand this climate.
Plus, I got 4 wits and 3 warfare, so I figure I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. From a warfare and almost like a business standpoint, Rethold, it's about understanding who are the allies, who are the rivals, who do you make peace with, who do you make war
We
with.
basically have to make it so that it's not profitable or desirable to attack us.
Well, one
Yeah.
move that would maintain the status quo is if you get the Grande and the governor to walk in lockstep.
Which
Yeah,
we're very
I think we're
close.
halfway
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
a handshake away from that at this point.
He's the representative of the crown. It's his job to represent the crown's interests in this
I
area.
mean, isn't that our job? Basically, we're the mediators. I don't know how that happened, but we're the ones that like reach across the aisle or something.
Hey,
What if we're doing that, instead of having, I mean, technically she's the one in charge, but what if we get the governor to pardon the crows?
Oh man, if we could get
So
them
it's
all
the
to be,
crown's agent that did it,
yeah,
not the supposedly insurgent.
yeah, we can make them all town guard. Like, I feel like there should be a way to like extend the town guard, like maybe town guard, port authority, fishing game, like
DEA.
right? I look over at Laundreville. I'm like, what do you think? What do you think of that? Of bolstering the city guard with some truly established veterans.
It would definitely give us some goodwill with the small folks, because many have relatives who had to join the crows for many different reasons, because life has been harsh on them. The war has taken its toll on everyone, and in fact, like the crows ended up picking up veterans, not just from the recent war, but from as far back as the War of the Cross, because the cause is appealing. If you make that show of faith, of course, some people will be against it, but that should not be something to stop yourself at, because regardless of what you do, you'll have your naysayers.
That's always going to happen.
For the people that do support it, this will show a gesture of good faith. This will help us bridge the gap with our veteran populations, for which there are many. Plus, let's just call it as it is. If it does come down to armed conflict in this area of Castile, I would much rather have the crows on my side than against. Speaking from a career soldier's perspective, there's nothing more dangerous than a lot of hard-trained veterans with nothing to lose, and I would much rather not be on the wrong side of the field from them.
Well, I think we need to bring that up to His Excellency the Governor in our next stop.
As he represents good King Sandoval's interests, and in some ways, by association, the Cardinals, we will have to make a bit of a hard sell to him. Fortunately,
we've got.
I can turn Carlos around.
Phrasing, nice.
Yeah.
Plus, if we pardon the crows, that will remove them from this whole witch hunt trying to find Chenier, because right now, more or less within city walls, they have no rights. But if they are
You don't have to hunt for
conscripted,
them. We're here already.
Nah. No, I love that. That's a win-win. That if he pardons them through, and pardon through service, it just ticks so many boxes. It's a good one.
Salvadora is just sipping tea, listening to the exchange of ideas.
Yep.
Cool.
Was there anything else we had to talk about here? I know that was the one thing I knew I had to talk about was the Sophia's daughters thing.
Yeah. Salvadora basically says the Inquisition obviously takes precedence because right now we need to defang the snake, and this is where it starts.
No, we can tell her about the plan with what do you call it? That public forum thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have the clippers to remove those fangs.
Yes.
She as you say it, she has like a bit of a smile on her lips as she's sipping her tea, and it's like, it would be a shame if undesirable guests were to show during this forum, wouldn't it?
Oh hell yeah.
But she says in defanging the Inquisition, you will also remove some powers from Mondavi. Right now, he is basking in the influence that the Inquisition and the Prophet's Sword give him, as well as throwing the name of his merchant prince around, as he is a direct blood relative. But take away the influence of the church from him, and poor Francesco will find he is quite far from the skirts of his uncle here in Odisseo. Accidents happen so quickly, so far away from home.
Oh, yes, they do.
Maybe that's what we should call ourselves, the accidents. I like that.
The accidents.
It kind of sounds like we just made a mistake in our drawers, though. I'm not sure I like that.
Well, someone. Maybe
caused
not us.
them.
We made out of
accidentally burnt that one house down. We accidentally let the elephant loose. Accidents.
That's right. As for assassins coming my way, you needn't worry for this moment. I am quite safe, but we'll take some extra precautions.
I hope you do.
And then she looks directly at Leandro and says, "You're an agent of the daughters. You have stepped in because you felt honor-bound to replace someone we lost. If you're willing, as of now, you work for me."
She is a good boss.
There's no hesitation whatsoever. Leandro is like, anything you need, you have but to ask. I intend to establish myself in the city in support of my wife and I suppose our extended family now.
Yes.
And will continue to further your cause to the best of my ability.
I tell Salvador that I was planning to actually have him take up the work in Il Duce, my shop.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, Il Duce.
I love it. I forgot.
Kept it in there.
The one Duke you can always find.
That's right. The one Duke you can rely on.
Stressful.
It's on the shop. The one Duke you can rely on. I love it.
Oh man, it is great. It's a great what do you call it? Catchphrase.
It writes itself.
On the sign, there's an impeccably dressed gentleman, but his face is shadowed, just giving finger guns. Like
It's Buddy Jesus. I love it.
so great.
On the side, I slide some papers over to Luna Maria that need a seal affixed, and I'm like, this is for the new craft, the Blatant Gull, and the Phoenix Call out of Isla de San Jose. They are, of course, property of Mendez y Mendez, but are absolutely at the disposal of their business partners, Lady Salvadora's enterprise, and we'll need people. We'll need a few more hands to sail them, as well as to work out at the new port on the island that there is their port of call. So if there's any up and coming employees in the organization, or anyone that wants to transfer, that sort of thing, I of course will continue to do my own recruiting. But
Perfect. Then Maria says that will be done, and they will be placed under your banner.
Mendez y Mendez grows with leaps and bounds. I love it. I got a partner finally.
In such a prosperous city.
Oh yeah, no. Slacker finally decided that he was going to take his paycheck, so we're going to put him to work.
Yeah. Ricardo looks slightly ashamed, but it's like, well,
You get a half a cut glance from Zhenya.
In another universe, I'd make kissy faces at him.
So I assume that is it for the report.
Yep. My 11 o'clock alarm just went off.
It's gonna be time. As you're right about to leave, Salvadora basically turns to you all and says, if you need a safe haven, many of our agents are watching your home. It should be safe. But if you do feel you need a different place, let me know. I'm always happy to provide you with an alternative if that's needed.
The San Felipe guard seems to be doing a right bang-up job of keeping the streets safe, at least this evening. And I think the cargo that was brought ashore on the Blatant Gull will return to it before daybreak, just so things stay quiet till all things come to revelation.
That works perfectly. If anything changes, you know how to contact me.
Or at least until tomorrow night, when we start talking to people in public.
Absolutely.
We'll have our next in-character meeting of the evening next session, it sounds like.
That's absolutely correct. And you file out of Salvadora's place and start to head towards your next destination, where we will pick up next session.
Yep. And that's the first session of the new year there.
That's right.
Woo!
Thank goodness for 2021.
Yeah, Sneaky Centaurs.
Still strong.
Season 7.
Year.
Still strong.
Yeah.
Still strong.
Lucky 7 this year, guys.
Let's see. So tomorrow, Megan, we should be all green light for Children of the Gods. Plus, we may be running a little late for that, as we're going to do a secret Centaur just for the crew. It's a horse thing. Don't worry about it. And
it's a horse thing.
So
I mean, it's a horse thing.
Yeah,
Preferably two horses talking to each other.
Yeah, if you love obscure RPG systems. Tomorrow night's another good night because what is a Scion? And then next week the 7th, we should be all good to go, or the 10th, we should all be good to go for Vampire again.
Year.
And then the
Yep,
17th, someone's birthday, will return to Seven Seas as
Who's
far as we
that?
know. I don't know, some weirdo that takes like a whole week off because he's going to play Breath of the Wild the entire time. It's going to be great. I'm going to
Yeah,
stream
if
it.
that's what you want to do for your birthday, that's what you do for your
That's right.
birthday.
Shameless plug, check out Front Chill. I'm just going to stream it there. Ferret, my best man, he told me I needed to record it so he could watch someone play it for the first time. So,
Nice.
shameless cross plug there. But otherwise, cool. And then we'll see what happens after that, as JC's going to be going in for her surgery and stuff. So, but most of this month,
We'll figure it out.
we're
as we
going
always
strong.
do.
Totes.
That's right. 7 years strong. We'll figure this out.
Yeah, we're going to keep going. We're just going to keep going.
That's right.
Cool. Love you guys. Thanks again to anyone who's still with us from that sweet raid. Shout outs on social to Summoners, Blue Summoners Network. Thanks again for everyone who's still hanging in there, giving us those sweet views. And if you missed part, you can go check it out on YouTube. We do have a YouTube. We're going to drop this sucker up on there within the week, or you can watch the VOD here on Twitch, of course. With that,
Now, we have a long history of,
That's right.
of stuff to watch over there.
You got years of backlog
Oh, yeah.
if you want to inflict that upon yourself.
So some of our earlier ones are like, whoops, we forgot to turn the sound on. Like, super
No, this is just some of our earlier ones.
tons of
Some of them are
mid-level
the silent
content.
genre. It's great.
And then there's the one where we had like the really janky screen, so it's all like fuzzy. But you know what? We grew from that. It's all right.
Entirely adequate content for years that you can avail yourself of. But yeah, for those who don't know, we are the Order of the Sneaky Centaur. Clop, clop, backstab.
Woo, woo.
Say goodnight, Internet.
Good night.
Internet.